Hi everyone. Tonight I'll be presenting my PowerPoint for Foundations of American Education. So the first question that's asked of us is, can anyone become a teacher? Well, the first thing I would ask yourself is, do you have these following three factors? Are you motivated to become a teacher? Do you have the time it takes to become a teacher? And are you willing to put the effort in that it takes to become a teacher? I believe that if you are lacking in any three of these factors, then you might not want to be able to become a teacher. Another factor that I would take into play is, do you have love for the children? And do you have the desire to perform a valuable service to society? This comes straight from the textbook, and I also believe that if you do not feel like you have both of these, then maybe becoming a teacher is not best for you. Some common dispositions also to consider is, are you going to be able to stay focused in the classroom when you have 10, 15, 20, maybe even 25 students all in one room that you have to stay focused on? And are you open to feedback? Can you take positive criticism? If not, again, any lacking of any of these two, three, or the other three factors, maybe becoming a teacher is not best for you. The last fact that I wanted to throw in here, which I got again from the textbook, was 90% of future teachers have cited. They have chosen to teach because they want to help children grow and learn. I think that this last um, question to yourself helps summarize the previous factors, that if you genuinely want to help these children grow and learn, then maybe becoming teaching is best for you. But is it for everybody? Probably not. The second question is American education unique? Well, the first factor that's going to come into play is that American education is decentralized. What does this mean, decentralized? This means that in the United States, we use decentralized decision making. That means that the education in each state is going to vary from state to state, even to county, even from school to school. So this is completely different than many other developed countries where they have a centralized decision making and they have these standards that everyone follows, that all schools follow. Second factor that's going to come into play is the teachers. The US teachers spend more time on students. They spend more time on more students. So this I got from the textbook as well, is that teachers typically spend at least 5 to 8 more hours away from work on teaching on work-related material than other developed countries, as well as they tend to have at least 2 to 3 more students per classroom than other developed countries. Another difference is going to be the funding. So our funding comes heavily from property taxes. Now, this could be a problem if, let's say, for example, there are two neighborhoods that are each taxed 1% from property taxes that are helped pay for their child's education. The only problem is what if one neighborhood averages $1 million homes and another neighborhood averages $100,000 homes? Well, the children from the $1 million home neighborhood are going to have 10 times as much funding than the $100,000 neighborhood. So that means that each student that is going to the $1 million neighborhood school is going to have 10 times as much money. This is going to be a smaller teacher to student ratio. This is going to be more extracurricular activities. So this can vary a lot between even neighborhoods. So that's an important one. Now, what I also have here is what's similar to other developed countries is that the US falls in the middle of the gross domestic product percentage spent on education. So according to our textbook, we're around 3.5%, which is kind of in the middle of where the other developed countries fall. So I thought we were pretty similar in that aspect. So part one of, is that a diversity seen in American schools a good thing? Well, I have three factors that go into the diversity that all kind of pertain to each other. And so the first one that I have here is social class. So social class can consist of the higher, um, upper class, the middle class, or the lower class, which is also known as like the working class. And to determine where you fall is going to be determined by your social economic status, abbreviated as SES as abbreviation. And that is determined by your occupation, your education, and your income. Now, obviously, the student is probably going to depend on the mother and father, the family, the guardians, which is going to transfer right over to my second bullet point of school achievement. So, according to our textbook, parents who have completed more schooling have children who score higher on tests. So there's actually this really, really great diagram that shows as more and more education is completed by the parents, the higher the grades got for the students. So I found that to be very surprising. And there's also a separate graph showing how the communities also can play a role in this. So it was showing how the urban fringe tends to have more professional occupations of family members, whereas the central city neighborhoods tend to have more unemployment, which again is going to affect the child's education. Now, correlating right into ethnic minority groups, you have these Hispanic groups of Mexican Americans and Puerto Ricans who have a disproportionately lower social economic status. Now, what I also found to be very interesting was according to K-12 Insight, by 2025, minorities will make up a majority of U.S. high school graduates. So this just goes to show that American schools are gonna be seeing more diversity, and this is very important. And I'm honestly looking forward to it. Hopefully, we'll be teaching by then. So part two of is diversity seen in American schools a good thing. So the diversity is it challenges or benefits? Well, one challenge that I see for teachers is providing the best education possible. So what does this mean? What did I mean by that? How does it provide the best education possible? Well, when I thought about it, it was how can the teacher take every student and their different backgrounds, their different cultures, their different language, their different maybe ages, their different sex, everything. How can you make the best education possible for everyone? And this is a challenge. This is a big challenge, and it requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of thought by the teacher, and it's just a very big challenge for diversity. But on the other side of that, there's a benefit for students is experiencing different cultures and languages. And I can use myself as a prime example. Coming to HPU, I've met students from well, all over the world, probably all 50 states by now, and it's great to have people all over. And I would have never been able to experience anything like this at any other school back on the mainland, and I'm extremely grateful that I had the chance to experience all the diversity in my school. Now, also in the textbook, it mentions these different views on philosophies. So, this could be something like, well, if a student, even if they are born into a lower socioeconomic status, as long as they work hard and they set goals and they follow them, then they can be successful. Okay. And there's also other philosophies that, maybe IQ tests aren't reliable. Maybe these standardized tests aren't reliable. Maybe we should think of another way to prove our points. Well, this could also be true, but it depends on what you guys think. But my personal opinion is that diversity is a great thing, specifically for the challenges. I think without these challenges, we wouldn't be working as hard as we do. We wouldn't be able to meet as many people as we meet and learn all their different cultures. So, specifically just for the challenging aspect of it, I think it is very important. And that's my presentation. Mahalo for listening, and that's it.